Edward Soldier here, and I'm back talking about Star Wars Ahsoka Season 1, Episode 5, and my thoughts on this episode. I like the episode. I do. I think the first part of the episode was great. I think if you're a prequels fan like I am, and a Clone Wars fan, you're going to love what they do in the first part of this episode. The Ahsoka bits, at least. But there are problems with this episode, and it's mainly to do with Hera and her scenes and the ending of the episode, which was kind of just obvious what they were going to do, and not really interesting. And this is not how you should have ended this episode. It is not how you should have ended it. You should have well, I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to go into that until spoilers, but the way they ended it was pretty stupid, in my opinion. If you're going to end this episode, there's only one way to do it, and I'll go into that into spoiler section. But other than the bad stuff, we have to talk about the best thing in this episode, and it is definitely Hayden Christensen. He is the best part of this episode because you can tell he is happy to be there. You can tell he takes this role seriously. The way he was fighting with Ahsoka with that lightsaber, you can see he trained. You can see that there is respect that he is showing that character he's playing. And it was fantastic. It was also, we have to give credit to Dave Filoni on the first part of this episode. I will give him credit because the way he was letting Anakin, attack Ahsoka using Darth Vader's moves. Now that was just amazing to see. I know that's a kind of a spoiler, but I'm just saying, the combat direction in this episode was great. Especially when you could see Anakin using Darth Vader's moves. It was great. So, yes, the beginning part of this episode is the best part. The second part of this episode is either just boring or annoying to get through. And it was just such a calm down. This episode should not have involved Hera or any of the other people. It should have just been Anakin and Ahsoka the entire way through. That's what this episode should have been. And I am kind of disappointed that it wasn't. Unfortunately, we did have to remember that there is a main story that we have to keep going back to. But, I could see what Dave Filoni was doing here. I could see, he was trying to give Ahsoka a lesson, and he was trying to show it through Anakin. What you should have done with this episode, what I think absolutely should have been done, was a live action version of the Clone Wars movie. That's what you should have done with this episode. Ahsoka's knocked out. Ahsoka is in the world between worlds. You could have done that episode. You could have done that movie. You had the time. You had the budget. You could have just done that movie in live action. I know not everybody was happy with the movie, but my God, you would have had so much there. And you would have had George Lucas's writing as well, just to copy from. So I think it's a massive missed opportunity that we didn't get that level of depth into the whole, flashback scenes. Because we got flashbacks, but they were minor. Okay? And there's also a massive flaw in this episode. Not to do with the writing, it's to do with the fact you can really tell in a lot of the flashback scenes it's being filmed on a stage. It is painfully obvious that this episode is on a film stage. And, again, I do like the flashback scenes, but when you see a bunch of clone troopers running, again, I'll have to go through spoilers with that stuff, but it is just very painful to watch those scenes. Because again, you can see they're putting effort in. You can see that. But the end product, it just looks like you're on a stage filming. And I do have to put that fault with Dave Filoni. But other than that, bad parts of the episode was the second part. Hera is just not getting any better. I am just getting sick and tired of seeing her. Her parts were boring. Her son was pretty boring. And yeah, again, second part, you take that out, you concentrate on Anakin and Ahsoka, and this is an amazing episode. This is a good episode, but only half of it. So, and I think the fact this got a movie release, I don't know why. Well, I know why, because Hayden Christensen is in this film. I mean, in this episode. And yes, there's a lot of love for that guy. He's a fucking great actor. He is a great actor. He's had his problems, but he's a great actor, in my eyes. But to give this episode a movie release, I don't see the point. I really don't. Again, massive Hayden Christensen fan here. I just don't see how this is going to make any sort of, way into the whole cinema. I just don't get it. I mean, just for, what was it, like 52 minutes? I don't know. I think that was kind of dumb, and it was kind of just to get some, I think some talk about the Ahsoka episode to say it's in the cinemas as well, in selected cinemas. But, okay. Again, I just don't see why you'd put this in a cinema. Again, it's not long enough. I don't think the episode's that good to put in a cinema. That's just me. So what would I give this episode out of 10? I think it's 6. It's the best I can do. It's a 6 out of 10. Again, the first part is great. The member berries, the flashbacks are great. But it gets let down with the Hera stuff. It gets let down with the stuff that, just reminds you of the main story. I'm sorry, that's about it. That's all I can say. If they just concentrate on Anakin and Ahsoka, this would probably be an 8 for me. But they didn't. So it has to be marked down for the mistakes, for the boredom, for all the problems that are in this episode. So let's go to the spoiler section now. If you do not want to hear spoilers, leave in 3, 2, 1. So the episode starts off with us, looking at the ocean where Ahsoka is, and moving up to the mountains and seeing Hera and her son kind of trying to find out what's happened. Like, where's Ahsoka? Where's Sabine? Where are the bad guys? What's happened? I mean, they did see a ship disappear, but they don't know where Ahsoka is. We then see Yarn holding Sabine's Mandalorian helmet, and him mentioning the fact he did tell Ahsoka and Sabine not to split up, or they would be in trouble. And he just kind of mentions why do humans, or why do people not really listen to him or listen. So, yeah. Kind of bored with the whole Hera scenes. I have to admit that every time we went from a Hera to Ahsoka, I was just kind of annoyed. Just concentrate on Ahsoka. I don't give a shit about Hera. The actress is just not good enough. She should not have been given this role. Not at all. So after we deal with that, and we go to the World Between Worlds, where we see Anakin and Ahsoka. And Ahsoka mentions that Anakin looks young. Anakin says back, "You look old." And yeah, it was kind of, they're talking to each other. She's kind of mentioning what's happening to her, and where is she? And then Anakin pretty much says to her, "I'm here to complete your training because you got beat in a fight." And apparently Ahsoka doesn't really get beaten that much, so this is very new to her, and she is afraid to the point where she is dying. And Anakin has come back, or at least a premonition or whatever, a Force ghost has come back to help Ahsoka kind of get over the fact she lost. And so Anakin has come back to finish off her training by showing her that dealing with defeat is what everybody has to go through. So They have an amazing lightsaber fight with each other, where Anakin again mentions to train her for life or for death. And again, when you see Hayden Christensen with a lightsaber, you can tell he trains, you can tell he focuses, you can tell he's not just taking the piss. He's not just waving a stick pretending to be a Jedi. He trained. He knows how to duel. It was excellent, this fight between Anakin and Ahsoka. And I loved this. I loved what Dave Filoni put into this episode with this scenes when you had Anakin fighting like Darth Vader did in the Rebels episode against Ahsoka then. I love that little bit of detail. It's a great little bit of detail that if you've watched, you know, a lot of these Star Wars shows, at least the good ones, you can see the stuff they're putting in. And I just love the fact you had Anakin not in the Darth Vader suit, but fighting like Darth Vader. It was great. So they have a great duel scene with each other, but Ahsoka knows how to kind of block Darth Vader. She's done it before, so she says, "You've not really got much to teach me." And so Anakin says, "I have one thing," and then cuts the bridge that they're on, and Ahsoka falls down into the clouds underneath, where she hits the floor, and then we get young Ahsoka. And I'll give credit to the young actress. I think she did an amazing job playing the young Ahsoka. Maybe a bit too kiddie, in my opinion. Maybe she should have got someone a little bit older, but fair enough. She was alright in the first bit. I love the fact they had Anakin wearing his Clone Wars outfit, not, you know, what he wore in Revenge of the Sith. I think that was amazing to see him in that, you know, gear. I love the fact he changed his hair as well. Again, I just love the fact they're showing a lot of respect to the Clone Wars. I know that's to do with Dave Filoni, but we had to talk about the first problem. It is very obvious that they are on a stage. To a serious... it's just seriously obvious. Like, you can see that they're putting smoke around trying to mask it. But unfortunately, it's very obvious. And the clone troopers, it is also very obvious you've got a bunch of extras. I don't understand why they can't just hire, like, ex-military to do this clones. It is kind of annoying to see soldiers running like morons. Just saying. But anyway, Ahsoka wakes up. She's gone back in time. She's in the Clone Wars. And Anakin kind of says to her, like, we're in a battle now. You need to focus. And Ahsoka mentions the fact this was their first mission together. And, like, how is she here? Basically, he says, I don't know. This is your vision, basically. Why are we here? And then Anakin leads the clone troopers to fight the Separatists. Now, I did love seeing the clone troopers. I loved seeing Anakin. I don't know why we're not seeing battle droids. I don't know why we're not seeing like the whole picture. Why are we just seeing one little scene? You could make this bigger. You don't need to have it full of clouds. I get you're trying to make it all mysterious and mystic and all the Force, you know, stuff. But you have an opportunity here to do a live action version of the Clone Wars. And you don't really do it to a big enough scale, in my opinion. So I was kind of disappointed with that. But other than that, it was a good scene. I liked the clone troopers in their Phase 1 uniforms. I liked Ahsoka, and I liked Anakin as well. So it was really good. So they attack the Separatists, and Anakin tells Ahsoka she's got to keep up. I like that line. And Ahsoka starts helping him defeat the droids. After the fight, Ahsoka sees a lot of injured clones and asks Anakin, why are we here and why are we doing this? Like, what's the point of this war, basically? I did kind of find it funny seeing the clone troopers all had face coverings. I just thought it was kind of funny. We just don't want to do the CGI for all the clone troopers to look like a certain person. I don't get why you would do that. I mean, just CGI Tamora Morrison into the episode. I mean, you've got him doing the voice acting. Just put CGI on some guys' faces and make them look like him. Kind of seems a bit stupid. But I do have to say this. A part of me kind of wishes you got D. Bradley Baker back. I get it. I know Tamora is the original. I get it. But come on. Bradley Baker, he did a great job with the clones. And I kind of think there is a point now where you do have to say, yes, Tamora's the original. But Baker, like, he has to be a part of the clones now. Like, he did such a good job. I kind of wish you could have both of them just do some of the, you know, voice work. To share it. I don't want to get rid of Tamora, but I don't want to just leave out Baker. Again, he done a fantastic job in the Clone Wars. And again, you have Tamora doing Rex. And again, it's great to see Rex back in Star Wars. In live action. But I don't know if Tamora can be just like Rex when, again, that's a character that's been built up for a very long time, and it was Baker who did that character. I don't know, maybe you could do a dub over Tamora's voice, Tamora's face or something, I don't know. Again, just to me, seeing Rex and not hearing the normal voice, I don't know. I kind of think it was a missed opportunity, in my opinion. So, Ahsoka is trying to comfort one of the clones who was wounded, and Anakin comes over to tell her they're getting ready to attack what's left of the Separatists on this planet. And Ahsoka asks about the war, why they're there, why they're fighting, aren't they supposed to be peacekeepers? And Anakin kind of brings up, listen, I'm trying to teach you to be a soldier. We're in a wartime kind of age. I'm teaching how to be a soldier, like my master teaches me to be a peaceful Jedi, like his master tried to teach him. So basically, you change with the times, and the Jedi's got to change with the times too, and that's what Anakin is trying to tell Ahsoka. It's like, listen, times have changed. The Jedi can't be just, nice. They have to be soldiers now. They have to fight. I kind of would have liked a bit more kickback from Ahsoka at this point, like, the Jedi are supposed to be keepers of the peace, not soldiers. And I would have liked that sort of scene between them both. But I think the scenes, it is fine. Just a little bit more would have been good, in my opinion. So when that bit's over, we go back to Hera. Hera's directing the, search for Ahsoka. They can't find him because the Asian X-Wing pilot lands, tells her they can't find Ahsoka. And then Hera's son starts feeling shit because he's got the Force. But don't worry, you don't really need to train. You don't really need to have the Force. You could just train so goddamn hard and you can get the Force. That is that's still fucking stupid. I am still fucking pissed off about that. Of course you need to have been born with the Force to connect to the Force. Anyway. So the son, he listens to the waves. It turns out the waves are the Force on this planet in some way, and that's where Ahsoka is. And in the waves, he can hear Ahsoka and Anakin fighting with lightsabers. So he says they've got to keep on the search. Hera then leaves her son, jumps onto the Ghost, and then go with the X-Wings to search for Ahsoka again. And Chopper is also going to scan where he is with Hera's son. Back with Ahsoka and Anakin, we then go back to the fall of Mandalore, where we see the little girl Ahsoka has kind of grown up a little bit, leading the assault. I loved seeing Phase 2 armor in live action again. I loved seeing Ahsoka kill some Mandalorians. That was interesting to see. But again, very obvious we're on a stage. I know I keep bringing it up, but I'm supposed to believe this is real, right? This is what you're supposed to be showing me. This is a real universe. This is a real place. If I can obviously see that it's a sound stage, then that's going to take me out of the show. And again, with Star Wars now, with the amount of damage that Kathleen Kennedy, that Disney has done to Star Wars, the love for Star Wars is really gone. So when I see massive fucking flaws, I'm going to mention it. There is not that love. There are no more, tinted glasses anymore with Star Wars. You either do fantastic or I'll call you out for your bullshit. And again, it's very obvious that's a fucking stage. So I am massively disappointed with that. So anyway, you see the fall of Mandalore and Ahsoka leading the charge. Anakin pops up and says, I don't remember this fight. And she just says, well, you weren't here, so of course you wouldn't remember. And then Anakin mentions that she's a warrior now, just as he trained her. But Ahsoka's not exactly happy about being a warrior. She wants to be a Jedi. And then Anakin kind of brings up that she's a part of a legacy. And how, with a legacy comes a lot of responsibility. Now, a part of me hopes Dave Filoni's trying to be like better with the fact that Star Wars has a history and shouldn't just be throwing it the fuck away. Unlike Disney and Kathleen Kennedy, who wanted to throw all the old Star Wars out and replace it with Rey and the shitty sequel trilogy. So I'll give him some credit for that, to say that at least he's trying to show respect to what came before. Unlike certain arseholes in Disney and Lucasfilm. So they're pretty much having this back and forth with each other. It's like Anakin's trying to get through to her that she is a warrior, that she's strong, but she also needs to deal with defeat. And Ahsoka's like, I'm not strong, I shouldn't be a warrior, I don't want to be this. My legacy is more of death and destruction than ever it was peace and life and all that. So, but, Ahsoka then kind of mentions that if she is just like Anakin, wouldn't that also mean she could fall to the dark side like Anakin? And Anakin's like, this is when he gets pretty pissed off and says, you've learnt nothing, let's just go back to the beginning. And I had to say, this is the best part of the episode for me, is when you see Anakin pull out a red lightsaber. I thought that was great. You could say that's kind of wasn't your great bit, but it was for me. And then again, they have a great fight with each other. And I know some people are going to get annoyed with this whole Ahsoka beating Anakin, and she did, but I enjoyed it. Again, I get Ahsoka is a strong Jedi, and if George Lucas was writing this, Ahsoka would have lost. But we have to accept, Dave Filoni's the one writing this. Of course Ahsoka was going to win, but I don't really care about the fight. I just cared about the lesson that he was trying to teach her. To teach her to fight. To teach her not to just give up. And that's what the lesson was about. Yes, you're going to stumble a lot in your life. But what makes you the person you are today is not the falling down. It's the fact if you get back up. And that's what I loved about it. Okay, it's simple. It's not too stupidly complicated like a fucking mirror scene from fucking Last Jedi. That still pisses me off. Like, what the fuck was that? Oh my sorry, this is not Last Jedi review. I'm just saying, that has to be the worst Force vision in history from The Last Jedi. The fucking mirror shit. Like, what was that? Anyway, so, they have a great duel with each other, but Ahsoka wins, and Anakin just, says to her, yeah, that's what I wanted from you, to fight. And then Ahsoka wakes up under the water, where she is then rescued by Hera and the New Republic. Oh, I should also mention the scene where Hera gets a message from Chancellor Momothra, whatever. And she's pretty much just there to tell her, yeah, we kind of heard about the whole situation with the Imperials. We're sending a fleet of ships to you, and Hera thinks they're there to help her. No, they're there to escort her back to Coruscant, where Hera is going to be questioned by a Senate committee. Because that is so fucking Star Wars, isn't it? Oh my god. And yeah, I mean, apparently she doesn't have enough evidence to say there's Imperial involvement. There's not enough evidence for Thrawn. I mean, they have a goddamn map. Yes, it's destroyed. They have a goddamn map though, right? They literally have eyeball evidence of a massive Imperial ship that just hyperspaced somewhere. Like, what the fuck do you mean there's no proof of Imperial? By the way, you just found out Morgan's fucking Imperial operation was still going on fucking Corellia. So what the fuck do you mean there's no fucking evidence? Oh, fucking hell. Again, that's why I hate the Hera part of this episode, because it's just so fucking stupid. There's a shit ton of evidence here. Anyway, so the fleet arrives. Hera tells her X-Wing pilots to go slow them down for a bit. Ahsoka wakes up from being unconscious and tells Hera, yeah, she's figured out a way to find, to find out where the Imperials went, which turns out to be she needs to talk to the whales, and the whales are going to take her to where the Imperials went. Because as Dave Filoni keeps trying to make like actual Star Wars canon, the whales, can go to hyperspace and they create the hyperspace lanes. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything about it, but I am. It's a stupid fucking idea. This whole whale shit, I don't care. This is dumb. I don't need to hear about fucking whales that can go to hyperspace. I do not want to know that's how hyperspace apparently existed when it just wasn't, okay? It wasn't. So, Ahsoka manages to force connect with one of the whales, the biggest one, and somehow manages to make some sort of deal with the whale. They then go inside the mouth, Ahsoka and Yarn, and then the whales start moving out of the planet, getting ready to go to hyperspace. We do get this cringe scene between the X-Wing Asian pilot and the captain of the fleet. It's not worth anything, trust me. It's a scene that's there. If you want to watch the episode and watch that bit, enjoy. It's just a cringe-worthy scene. So the whales go past the 3 New Republic ships, and Ahsoka says bye to Hera because Hera's going back to Coruscant to deal with the politics. And they go into hyperspace to go search for the Imperials, Thrawn and Ezra. And that's how the episode ends. Great first part of the episode. Okay middle. Ending it isn't perfect. Ending is kind of watch it or don't. That's what I'd say to people. But yeah, I think it's a good episode. Okay, it's a 6 out of 10. I know it's not massively high, but it's not massively low either. It's in the middle there. And yeah, again, all the credit has to be given to the person who really did give this episode the big thumbs up. It's Hayden Christensen, okay? It is. It's great to see him back. He's had a hard time. He didn't get really a lot of work after the prequels, which I think is fucking shit. And yeah, the lot of shit he got from the prequels I think was unnecessary. I mean, he's a good actor. He's not fantastic. He has his problems, but you can see he's determined. You can see he trains. For fuck's sake, he has a light. When he fights these lightsaber duels, you can see he trains. You can see he fucking put the work in, and you've got to give respect to that sort of actor. And I do. I give massive respect to him. So yeah, if Ahsoka the series does fall apart and turns out to be a massive flop, nobody is going to be saying, oh, it's because of Hayden Christensen. Nobody's going to say, oh, he's going to get, thrown out by the fans. No. The fans are on his side. He's a great guy. And fucking hell, he comes back. He does a fantastic job. I like that. But other than that, am I looking forward to next week's episode? I don't know. I really don't. I don't think I'm like, oh, I can't be asked. But also, this episode, the ending, it didn't really put any fire underneath me. It didn't really make me want to, be excited for next week. That's it. I just kind of I'm a bit ambivalent towards it, but I'm also a bit excited. I mean, it's in the middle. So yeah, that's the end of my review. If you like this video, give it a like. If you dislike this video, give it a dislike. And if you like my content, do think about subscribing. And if you have a comment, please leave it at the bottom and I'll try to get back to it. Entertainment World Soldier, bye.